Why did this happen to me? Why is this happening? Why is this a pattern I seem to have? Why do I seem to keep dating the same kind of people? That is what I want to talk about. Why this is happening, why does it happen, and so on. Why do you potentially attract highly narcissistic people, and what you can do to stop it, because you can work towards changing these patterns. Narcs know who to look for, plain and very simple. They know what they want, and they know who makes good sources of supply. So let's talk about some things that highly narky people look for. And if you feel like you might be falling into some of these categories or struggling with some of these things, I want to briefly go over what you can do to start changing that behavior. Number 1, you're far too open, far too fast. Most highly empathic people, most codependent people are just open books. And it's a really wonderful quality to have. You hold nothing back. You say what it is, the good, the bad, and the ugly. However, when we first meet someone, we do not need to give away every little piece of information about ourselves. Being aware that we do this is vital. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves we don't know this person. We need to slow down. We have to flip the script and start thinking less about getting this person to like us and telling them all of our most vulnerable secrets, and more about protecting ourselves. I watched a YouTube video once, and the person talking was talking about going on dates and being so consumed with making sure the person that they were on the date with liked them. So they would spend the whole date trying to act perfect, be perfect, witty, funny, charming, and so on. But they never stopped to take the time to even see if they liked who they were on the date with. Were they funny? Were they interesting? Were they a complete creep? This person was not focusing on anything with the other person, but more so about how they came across and what they shared. Sometimes we get so focused and consumed with getting somebody to like us that we forget that we need to like this person too. We need to learn things about them. We're in this for us and not them. That's dating. We're trying to find a partner. We need to be learning about this person. We need to be more protective of our information. And unfortunately, we have to realize not everybody has our best intentions in mind. Number 2, you have a history of abusive relationships. Lots of narcs want to dig into your past and see if you have a history of being in these kinds of relationships. They want to know what happened with your exes, and this immediately goes back to be careful who you share things with. I don't meet anybody new in my life and go, oh, hey, that last guy? Yeah, complete cheating, lying loser. I go, didn't work out. We were on different pages. Not a big deal, whatever. Once things move forward, if they do, I might relay more information and more personal thoughts and open up more about the severity of the relationship. But once a pattern of trust is established with this person, and definitely not before then. Number 3, you want everyone to like you. I'm not going to sit here and get into the signs of codependency, a whole other video. If you want a video on codependency, go down to the comments and type in the word codependency or tell me you want a video, but not getting into that here. If you need validation from everyone, you need everyone to like you. You feel bad when you learn someone doesn't like you and you go, oh, what did I do to this person? Why don't they like me? What happened? This can cause issues in relationships. You can have issues with people pleasing, and it makes perfect sense why a narcissist would be drawn to a overachieving people pleaser who needs validation so desperately and doesn't really care where they get it from, like people who have codependency problems. If you feel like you might have an issue with codependency, I do encourage you to look into that a little bit more. It is something that you can begin to become aware of and curb and start to work on. Number 4, you get hooked on love bombing. Love bombing is intoxicating. It's fun and exciting. It's also toxic as shit. What do we hear over and over? You just want things to be like they were in the beginning, right? Well, truth be told, things are just as toxic in love bombing as they are in devaluing and the beyond. It just feels better. It's happier and comfier and nicer than the devaluing or a discard or a silent treatment, things like that. We get hooked on love bombing because it's euphoric. But what we have to understand is that isn't love. It's things like lust and desperation. It's too fast and too furious to really know somebody very well. And there comes a point where we have to tell ourselves, this is not how real, true love and relationships form. We get hooked on it. Of course we do. We can even get upset when we meet somebody and we don't get love bombed. Things go too slow. It's boring. But a relationship needs to form. You can't build something on a fantasy of lies and, oh, everything's going to be great in the future. That's not how things work. Relationships, again, need to be formed. They need to be built and nurtured, and you can't rush past all of that and just jump in. The idea is absurd and frankly ridiculous. We have to go slow, leave something to the imagination, have something to look forward to, get used to pulling away when things start to feel really nice and things are going well. Pull away a little bit, cherish that. Why feel this need to rush everything? You're going through everything way too fast. Before you know it, the honeymoon's over. Now you're beginning to be devalued. We don't see this in time. We fall way too far, way too fast, and get hooked on that idea of love bombing that is not love. It's incredibly false and very, very dangerous. If you'd like to talk with a survivor one-on-one and get help and support, you can set up private phone conversations with me by emailing BookAChatWithJess@gmail.com. Number 5, you have no boundaries and you accept low standards. I'm not going to ramble about standards and boundaries either. I can do a whole other thing about that if that's what you want. All I'm saying here is toxic people know what they're looking for, and it's not for a person with boundaries. They want to know, can they push you? Can they tear you down? Can they wear away at you until they get what they want? We all accept low standards of the narcissist. Every single one of us does. When we get told things like, I don't apologize, or if we get told everything's our fault, or if we get told something like, they cheat, they're just a cheaty person, that's what they do. That is a narcissist telling you, hey, this is me. This is what I'm about. This is what I do. This is what I'm gonna do. And this is how I handle things. Like a 16-year-old kid who doesn't know right from wrong and doesn't know my ass from a hole in the ground. So I'm telling you this. If you continue on with me, you are now accepting this low standard. And when you get upset because I don't behave differently, I'm going to refer back to this and tell you, well, I told you I don't apologize. I told you I have a hard time being faithful. I told you this up front. So what are you so angry about? The other point when it comes to this is, what does the narcissist look for? And what they look for is huge. And that's some of the stuff I just went over. And we have to think about that. But the other person in this scenario is you. So we have to turn it around a little bit and look at, who are we as a person? We know who narcissists are attracted to. We know they like empathic people, codependent people. What I just said, no boundaries, no standards, things like that. So the next point you would have to address is, who are you attracted to? I mean, seriously, ask yourself, who do you like? And think about your past and reference that. Do you have wounded bird syndrome? Are you a white knight? Do you need to save the damsel in distress? Do you need to love the unlovable and fix the broken people? Do you find yourself drawn to people who have all of these issues? And do you find yourself maybe not necessarily attracted to more well-adjusted people? Does doing things like this feel somewhat normal for you? We have to not necessarily behave the way a narcissist sees as good. We have to go slow. We can't rush things. We can't be seduced by love bombing. A narcissist doesn't like when they can't control you, when you won't speed things up. So we have to not behave how they want, but we also have to stop choosing people who have a huge tendency to just flat out be narky as fuck. If someone's always a victim, that is a problem. If someone always wants to be the hero and the savior, that's a problem. Those are signs of toxicity, not necessarily narcissism, but it's pretty narky. We have to be able to identify signs of toxic behavior as quickly as possible when we're dealing with other people. We have to dig deeper and really see, why am I not choosing well-adjusted people? Is this how I'm presenting myself? Is this who I just go after? One fact that I learned that I have to share because it's so damn true, and that's why it's funny. When we want someone to like us, when we're attracted to someone, when we like someone, all of our standards and boundaries go right out the window, just so fast, because we want this person to like us. But On the flip side, we've all had that person in our lives, right? The one who comes on way too strong, the one who won't piss off, who won't get the hint. How do you react? Most people go, ew, no. Get a backbone and some sort of self-respect and stop acting like such a simp and get out of here, Well, the truth is, well-adjusted people like it when you have standards and boundaries. It almost gives other people that version of respect. When you have somebody who is kind of going after you and they won't get the hint and they won't go away, when they finally look at you and go, you know what, I really liked you. And you won't give me the time of day. So you know what, I'm done here. You might be a little offended. You might not care. But you might walk away going, you know what, I can actually respect that. And that's where that well-adjusted behavior is. Well-adjusted people like when you have standards and boundaries. I don't want to be surrounded by yes men. Tell me no. Tell me what sucks. Tell me what I need to change. I want to know. I want to be around people who have standards and boundaries because I do. I'm not available 24/7. Frankly, it weirds me out when somebody is. I go, don't you have friends, hobbies, something? Do you like some kind of movie? What's happening here? The only people who respond well to you not having standards or boundaries or self-esteem or self-respect are the people who don't want you to have those things. I've said it for years. The only people who like you not having boundaries and not having standards are the ones who can't meet them. And they need you to sink down to their level because they are incapable of rising up to meet yours. And I want you to think about that, survivor. Share your thoughts with me about this. What was it about you that made you think that maybe you are attracting narcissists? It might be some kind of pattern. Are you working on it? Again, tell me about it down in the comments. Please subscribe if you haven't. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself.